see a black man and one man, I think of strength, black empowerment we have within, building community development. Let's continue to build our own. Let's continue to stay strong. Motivation, no matter the hate, no stopping. You just go. Listen up to Quan, John, and Queen P for giving us a voice. Speak up for what's yours and yell and make that noise. We are kings and we are queens. Melanated royalty, just getting started. Loving self, self and knowledge. Stack that wealth. Motivational motors, y'all.
Booyah! Back at you, Motivation Motors, where we speak to interesting black people who've overcome adversity and root to prosperity. We got Miss Portia Mistake. What's going on, sweetie?
Yeah. Hey!
Today, we got a very, very enlightening, interesting guest. We got Jen Washington, the host of Woke by Accident. Say what's up, Jen. How you doing?
Hey, doing well, guys.
That's what we're talking about here. Like I said, on Motivation Motors, we speak to people who've overcome adversity and root to prosperity. And we speak to the people that are about the community, the ones that want to see us come up and rise above the shackles. The Emancipation Movement, Juneteenth, Portia Mistake, she hosting it. It's going to be the bomb RSVP right now. You know what I'm saying? So Jen, let's get into your background. Well, how did you come up with this, the title, first and foremost? Woke by Accident. How did the title? That's a very dope title.
Oh, thank you. So I actually was completed podcast training with Carla Wilmaris. I'll be coming up on my 1 year anniversary or podversary next month. Oh. But Carla Wilmaris is a really dope expert in the podcast space. She had a class that was advertised on Instagram and I signed up for it. And so everybody's in this big Zoom with maybe 70 people or so. And everybody's talking about what they want to do. Oh, I want to do a podcast about sex and relationships or wine and, all these different things. And I was the only one that kind of had this kind of idea, this type of topic that I wanted to cover. And so when they asked me to speak, I was just saying that, I wasn't trying to be this woke person. It really was by accident. And everybody's like, that's it.
Wow.
Hold on. That's
I kind of came out of Zoom.
I like that though, man.
Yeah.
So hold on. Woke by accident came out of, you say, okay, I'm not really trying to be woke. It's really by accident. Woke by accident.
Yeah. So
and you know what?
Well, what does it mean to be woke by accident?
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, with all of the things going on, and I was really inspired by what happened in Ferguson, which is like in my backyard here in St. Louis, Missouri. So, Ferguson's one of our suburbs here. And just really impacted by that. It was 2014, but just, really this happened like right after George Floyd and just reliving those feelings that we're still just processing it. The Mike Brown case was reopened here recently and they determined that they weren't able to convict Darren Wilson again. So it kind of got reopened all over again recently here. And just, all of these different cases, Ahmaud Arbery, all these different things. And I'm just like, wow, I'm just, I have something I want to say and just wanting to have an outlet to share those opinions and get other people in my circle's opinions and feelings. And it was an outlet. So I used it as such. And it happened to work out with not knowing how to podcast, but wanting to do it and getting myself trained and equipment and what I need to do and such. So it worked out.
So on your podcast, you delve into stories that affect the Black community and you get the opinion of the guest.
Right. And really, it wasn't supposed to be a guest. It kind of evolved into that. It was just me. Like for the very first chunk of it, it's just me. Mm-hmm. And I would, play some clips of some of the stories I'm talking about. And it's just me. But then I decided to, grab a couple of folks and get their take on things too.
And you know what? I actually just did your podcast last week and I had a ball. And after listening to it again, you know what? We need more podcasts like that. That's exactly what it is. That's what racism is. A race is a race to the finish line. And the plan of the race is to make sure that you stay in last place like any other race. If me and you were racing, I'm not going to slow down. I'm going to speed up. Am I not? Because I want to beat you by any means necessary. And that's what racism is. I am trying to beat you, figuratively or literally, by any means necessary.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to do. So it was not appalling or startling to me when I heard that they're saying that this juror is biased because he was at the march and he had the shirt on. No, this is just another plan and ploy and propaganda of the perpetrator. I know that's a lot of P's, but we discussed on your podcast, when we hear these stories, they're only stories, and we don't get the back end of it. We don't get the opinions of how the community feels about it. So I think we need more podcasts like yours to really, let's throw it out there. Like, how do you feel about this situation? Do you feel like this is justified?
And I've been told it's an unpopular topic. Some people don't want to talk about these things. It's definitely an uncomfortable conversation sometimes, or triggering, but it's necessary,
But life should come with a trigger warning. It's like, I'm so sick of people being so sensitive about everything. It's like, no, don't talk about this. No, you have this issue. Shut up. The truth is the truth. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. But we need to talk about it, because the more you don't talk about it, the more stupidity can continue.
Right. I agree. Right. Right.
Have you found yourself to be, you said this was by accident. So have you found yourself to become more quote unquote woke during the past year of doing the podcast? How has it changed you or your perception or perspective on the Black community, quote unquote, or racism and oppression?
Well, I've definitely always been aware. I mean, journalism I studied in school, actually, and it's just one of those things that, you go to school for this and you end up doing this for a career. And so it's just kind of getting me back to what I wanted to do ultimately. And I've always, been into media anyway, so I pay attention to what's going on. That's just in me from the journalism background. And I just, it's a good outlet to share and then incorporate my feelings. I feel like I've defined my voice, going through the podcast so far. I've definitely defined my opinion and my voice, I feel.
I'm curious, what is your definition of woke? What is it to be woke?
Right. So I feel that being woke is being aware and having an opinion and let's see. Well, I guess I feel like it's being aware of what's going on and wanting to have a solution or a determination of what you're going to do about it. So in some cases, we may be saying that, if you can't take a flight out to Oklahoma or, wherever the situation is, maybe there's a petition that you can be a part of or add support or resources to. There's something you can do from where you are if you care enough. And so, that's where I'm coming from.
Okay.
You?
Okay.
I want to know what you think. What's your definition of woke?
Let me put it into an acronym.
You are always you, I swear.
The acronym for woke is winning over the Klan extensively.
Hey!
Oh my gosh. Wait.
No, but on the serious side, I think like our tab, our I think woke is one thing, and like she said, being aware is another thing. You know what I'm saying? And I listened to Master P's story last night. Very bomb documentary I listened to last night, and he said something that his grandmother told him a long time ago when he was a little kid, and his grandmother told him that you should dream like no limit is his company, no limit. You know what I mean? She said there should be no limit to your dreams, because if you don't dream, there's no reason to be awakened. If you don't dream, there's no reason to get up out of the bed.
Right.
So I think being woke is somebody that's on the up and up. You stand on top of or the issues that affect you as well as your community, and you're alive. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're alive 24. Even when you sleep, you're alive because you dream about the next day on how you can make a difference. You understand? So even
That's
when
what
you
it's
sleep,
about,
you're
making a
awake,
difference. Yeah,
making
totally.
a difference.
Yeah.
For real, man.
I mean, I love the
Portia?
fact, Jen, I love your
Yeah.
podcast because I love the fact that you use the term woke. And for me, you people say it all the time. They're like, yeah, I'm so woke. I'm woke. I'm woke. Like, but what does that mean to you? Because for some people say that they're woke just because they know about the plight of Black people. Everybody knows the plight of Black people. So by that definition, everybody's woke. But what I love is the fact that you kind of, without actually saying it, through your podcast, you define wokeness. You define what that means. And like you said, I'm glad you gave it a one-liner. Being woke is making a difference. And I think it's being aware of what needs to change and be willing to make that difference. So people out there with their Twitter fingers talking about I'm woke, if you didn't do anything to help your people, go back to sleep because you are not woke. Go back to bed.
Yeah, uncovering all these different examples of change and people making a change, it's just amazing. You know, even Mike Brown's mother, you know, she worked at a grocery store and she decided to get into politics. I mean, she didn't win the election she ran for, but I mean, just being that driven by that moment to, hey, I want to make a difference in this town and change these laws that are horrible, you know, impacting us in a horrible way. And just like even the stuff that his father's doing out here with his nonprofit is just amazing. You know, it's just, yeah.
When we first, I'm sorry, Portia.
I was going to say, you talked about your journalism background. How does that come through in your podcast?
Good question.
Well, so learning, since I was trained through this, podcast course, you know, just knowing what equipment to use was kind of a good refresher. But you know, I really you know, I have a journalism communication degree, so I mean, I know how to do this. You know, communication is in who I am, and so having this vehicle where I come on out to the world weekly to share, you know, and I try to keep it objective in, you know, some regard, but I do share, you know, something I feel passionately about. And I definitely, you know, try to have a conversation with the other person on the other side if I'm interviewing someone, or I try not to call it an interview, but a conversation with someone. And I feel like those journalism skills come out in those moments.
Right.
So.
Okay.
You know what? And when we first started Motivational Motives, you know, I would think to myself, you know what I mean? You know, they say the conscious community, right? And I thought to myself, damn, Quan John, are you part of the conscious community? Would you put yourself in that realm? And at one time I did. And because, you know, they say if you're in a conscious community, you have to be woke to be in the conscious community. But then on the other side, I said to myself, if I kind of pigeonhole myself or Motivational Motives or what me and Portia do, it's kind of like a person that said, I'm a Christian and I don't believe in the Muslim faith or Buddhism. It's kind of pigeonholing yourself. So me personally, I don't say I'm part of the conscious community, but I do say that I'm well aware of oppression. I know how I've been affected by it. And I understand how, you know, I don't want my children to be affected by it. I don't know if you would label that as conscious or see, I'm not a labeler, Jen. You know what I mean? I'm the type of, right, like me and Portia, we just had the talk off camera and we was talking about being tall or short, right? You know, Jen, how tall are you?
5'1".
You're 5'1", okay. And you probably say to yourself, you're short, right?
Yes.
Put yourself next to a woman that's 4'2". Are you still short? No.
I would say we're both short.
I mean, but what would she say?
Okay.
What would she say? To her, you're tall. So are you tall or short? So my point is, when you label yourself short, now you are giving someone the advantage to define you. You understand what I just said?
Right.
You're giving them the advantage. Hey, now you can define me. So I'm not a person that wants to say I'm a conscious person. I'm a woke person. I understand what's going on and what has happened, and I'm a student of our history on a day-to-day basis. You understand? And me and Portia, we are trying to create history. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I want to ask you: have you ever personally, specifically, endured any type of racism or oppression, specifically to you? Can you remember, whether it be in school, whether it be at a job, whether it be just walking down the street, anything that you can remember, if you care to disclose that?